I'm Thomas Driscoll. I come from the Boston area. Here with my family, brother, and we're both CHMers. So we're here with the conference to come out and connect with everybody.
Yeah, I'm Robert Driscoll from the greater Boston area as well. Like Tom said, we're out here with our family. This is our third conference here. It's always just great to be out here and meet some fellow CHMers, connect with some old faces, and hopefully learn something new in the development of the research for a cure. I would say what's my favorite part about the conferences is I kind of reflect back on our first one in Philadelphia. We were there and we met a bunch of kids that were around the same age as us from Chicago area who we never met before. But we spent the entire weekend hanging out, getting into some great stuff, some probably stuff that our parents wouldn't want us doing, but had an awesome time. And honestly left that conference just with like a feeling that like I got some like brothers that I just met across the country, and I know that whenever we get together, it's like no time's lost at all. We share that connection.
It felt a lot like when you get together with people maybe you went to school with, college friends, high school friends. You don't see them that often. Maybe a couple times a year, maybe once a year, maybe once every 2 years. But when you're back together, it's right where you left off. That's kind of the feeling that I got when the conference brought us together, and I didn't know them at all. And so it was just really awesome to have this instant connection. I mean, be truly feeling like family and like a brotherhood. And that's really what I enjoyed the most about being there in Philly. It's just really awesome.
So, how we were diagnosed, I'm 25, he's 28, so he's a couple years older than me. I was apparently at like 5 years old or so. My mom just like knew something was off with my vision. I guess I like fell into a pool at like a night pool party. Thank goodness it was a kiddie pool, I guess. But she just talked to me and I said I didn't see it, which she thought was weird. And she took me in to get an eye checkup, and they kind of pushed me along to the next level of eye examination at like Mass Eye and Ear. And then they clearly saw something was off and needed to see Tom. And our like normal eye doctor kind of sat him down and looked at it and had to break the news to my mom, who said it was like real tough as like I can imagine. But we weren't told about it until a bit later.
I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He was still in middle school.
Yeah, I was in like 6th or 7th grade.
I think it was probably when I was a freshman or sophomore, but they just felt like they needed to wait till we were old enough to understand, which was probably a fine decision. I think it would have been easier to convince us to wear sunglasses when we were younger.
Yeah.
If they just told us right off the bat, but that was a battle for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then once we found out, it was also good for us too, because there was a time where the CRF was really gaining some momentum there and having the hope and them to be able to say at your age there's a good chance you're not gonna be fully blind based on the way science is going. So I think maybe in that regard it was kind of a good reason for them to wait.
Yeah. I can speak about the research pretty well. I'm part of one of the clinical trials with Spark. So it's going on about, I think, 5 years ago. I had surgery, gene therapy surgery on my left eye. I actually have my final checkup of the study coming up next week, which is, exciting to know that, like, after that they'll compile the data, they'll reflect on it, and hopefully publish something, and, fingers crossed all the appointments and the surgery was something that was really beneficial. So, I mean, I'm optimistic. I don't really think there's a reason to be pessimistic. I don't think, even if there was nothing down the pipeline, it's just like you're better off looking forward than reflecting on bad stuff that could happen to you.
Yeah, and I mean, just the way science is going, there's so many things that are changing, and even I didn't get a treatment, but I did have a macular hole in my left eye, so a hole in my retina, and when that was first found when I was in high school, I think it was a junior, they were like, it's going to be messed up. We're not touching it. No chance. We're not doing anything. No one's going to do it. And then fast forward 6 years to when I got out of college, there's a doctor down at Duke who I was seeing, and he was like, you know what? Hell no. We got what we need. We're going to do that no problem. And they just did it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just science is going so fast, and they're working really hard on it. So I'm definitely optimistic. I think that families should definitely try to do their best to come to a conference because um, for a patient, it is really just an excellent way for them to connect and feel, better about what's happening, and like they're not alone. Because I'm thankful to have a brother that has the same thing, and we can talk about what's going on. But someone who doesn't have that, right? They probably feel like they're on an island, and being able to come, reflect, and stay connected with people who have the same issue is just really beneficial for someone's kind of mental health and how they're feeling and how they go about their day to day.
Yeah, I would say there's so many benefits from attending a conference, especially like with your family. I know my mother and my father have like benefited greatly with connecting with other mothers, like reflecting on when they found out, had the gut feeling in their stomach, their lump in their throat. And like our younger sister Carolyn's here with us. She's 15. It's a little less exciting for her because like she's kind of in limbo, but like she loves helping us out and loves to like do anything she can. So even her sitting on some of these sessions will like hopefully learn a trick or two or learn like when to like not be like trying to help us and let us do a little bit stuff on our own. And then personally, like Thomas just said, like it's just a whole nother family and belonging and common ground and just a place where there's all your egos are left at the door and everyone comes here to reflect and share and laugh about kicking your shin on a coffee table 15 times in a day. It's pretty rich stuff.
But they have been super active in fundraising, and they love to kind of help people learn how they can fundraise pretty easily. I know my dad just decided to do kind of a blitz fundraising campaign. That's what he started a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
and he's already put together a couple $1,000 nearly. So they definitely love doing it and helping others do it as well.
A couple of years back, we both played lacrosse throughout our lives and in college. So when we were in high school, they put together this thing called like Sea by the Sea, like a little pun on the word, and had a couple high schools come out, a college team play. It was just a big fundraiser surrounded by choreogremia and lacrosse and connecting the two and just kind of sharing the reality of what we live with and also like the passion that we have. And it was a huge success. There was a lot of work. They were freaking stressed out and flying around and made it work, but it would turn out to be great, and they raised a ton of money. I don't know, it's been, the past couple of years have been a little tougher to do something like that, but I know my mom is really excited to jump back in and really dive full head on into that fundraising effort again. So I definitely, for fundraising for me personally, sometimes I'm just a little torn on it. My work is actually in like the nonprofit field. I work with some inner city kids in Boston who are a little bit at risk. So for me, it's like kind of towing the line of like where do I feel comfortable with like asking for money for me versus like asking for money for my organization. Like what are my expectations for work? But in college, I did do a little bit of fundraising here and there. I kind of lean more on the advocacy side and spreading, my message and spreading, on rare inherited retinal disease day or inherited disease day. I always like to post something and, just like kind of have it on my sleeve. Like I'm not going to hide it from people, and I'm happy to talk about it. But I do think now that I'm an adult, fundraising is something I'll definitely try to get into. Maybe like a marathon or something would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I've definitely I've had a marathon on my radar for a while. But I mean, until this point, I think most of the fundraising effort has been something that I kind of got in with my parents on and was kind of supporting their ideas because they've just been great with coming up with ways to fundraise. But as Rob said, getting older now, definitely planning on kind of leaning more into the fundraising aspect.
Stuff costs a lot of money, especially like with technology and science and resources and access to people, and whether it be there was something talking about earlier with two brothers who have a situation that one has symptoms and one doesn't. Like the CRF flew one of the brothers from Spain to the U.S. in the middle of the pandemic, like stuff like that. You can't do that without money. They had to pay for that. They had to go out of their way to make that happen, and it was for the betterment of hopefully all of the people here and all the people affected around the world. So I think it's just, it's hand in hand. You can't have development and research without proper funding. It all costs money.
Yeah, I would say to families that may be getting some unfortunate news that they're not ready for, they feel overwhelmed by, just don't be discouraged and know that there's a very big family out there that's willing to welcome you with open arms, and we love everybody, and it really is a big, happy family.
And I would say my advice to anyone who's been diagnosed, especially as a young kid, don't let it ruin your life. Honestly, don't think that because this diagnosis, your life's over.
Yeah.
I found out in 6th grade, and I fell in love with lacrosse. I played in high school. I played collegiately. I was a captain of my team senior year. I'm still coaching lacrosse. I'm still able to completely live independently. There's so much more time than potentially you may think, or even if not, there's so much technology down the road that we'll have our vision. I'm pretty confident, and I really feel that way. So don't let some doctor who doesn't know anything about it tell you you're going to be blind in 20 years, because he has no idea, just like we have no idea. So stay positive.
Yeah.